Hello. Today, I'm joined with one of our strategic partner from Netherlands, a company called iCatalyst. And it's my pleasure to welcome Chris Browley, who is the managing director of iCatalyst. He has visited us with TechWave here and then talked through some of the ideas and experiences we both share in terms of a strategic collaboration, how if two companies can work together in a form of a strategic collaboration, and also focus a little bit in sharing experiences towards how the carve-outs work when you have a large organizations and there is a disinvestment that is happening through one of their entities, and then these companies are being carved out. What are the experiences? What are the strategic objectives? One has to look at it, and in terms of the functioning of those things and all. Welcome, Chris, for this podcast. Good to have you on this, and let's kind of share some experiences on the strategic collaboration and how Carve-Outs has been structured, and we can share our experiences, what we have been working in the last few years.
Yeah, thank you, Morty, for having me here. It's a great opportunity to visit the TechWave office here in Hyderabad. So very pleased to be here and to talk about this partnership we've had now for the last nearly 3.5 years.
I just realized we are entering almost 4th year. And since we first met in 2022 and then end of 2022, and then talk about it. Great. So, Chris, I think I will directly jump on to the first one that we were looking at. We've been working on one of iCatalyst for the last 4 years approximately. This has been one of the first carve-out for us in our experience also. What were the strategic objectives that you guys had when this whole idea came through, and how did you visualize that, and what's your experience in the last couple of years working on this?
Yeah, so I think carving out this business from a large multinational chemical entity from BASF, the largest chemical company in the world, carving out this entity into the standalone company was quite a challenge. Because of course we needed to do this all in the background, this carve out while the regular business was going on. Yeah. So it was the main objective, of course, was to keep our customers happy, that they basically actually don't notice that there is a carve out going on and that there is a change of, let's say, entity, and to keep the business continuity, to make sure that we have enough product, we can ship, we can service our customers. And in the meantime, in the background, introduce basically the new organization, which needed to be set up from scratch. Because, of course, a chemical plant within a multinational corporation only basically has very limited service functions on site. Yeah. So everything is nowadays in shared service centers, from partly from sales, from back office, procurement, finance, accounting, you name it. Basically, nothing was really on site, so we needed to set up all of these functions
from scratch.
In parallel, while of course continuing the business with producing our very high grade catalysts. We came up with the name iCatalyst as innovative quality catalysts. Yeah. So focusing on really on the high level products, and of course. Also, we have R&D in our facility and continuously producing and developing new products. So that all needed to continue at the same time. While in the background, we're really working with all of this, and a core part of our carve out is of course the IT. It's about the IT infrastructure. Yeah. So we're taking over this very complex IT infrastructure from carving it out of a multinational corporation. Yeah. With all of their, let's say, setups as a global company. Yeah. And scaling it down to a, medium-sized Dutch company, right. which we are in reality. Right. So we need to find the balance here between having this infrastructure from a multinational and putting it into the right size. Yeah. And it's not just the IT infrastructure, but of course it's the ERP system. Yeah. So we chose to go with an SAP S/4HANA system. Yeah. Which maybe is a little bit too big, maybe even for our...
Probably from your current size, but I think when you look at the future expansion and
Yeah, absolutely. And we looked at that, but we thought it's still the best option to go with, because also, of course, the BASF also had an SAP R3 system.
Yeah.
So we upgraded to the S4HANA.
Yeah.
And it made the transfer for a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
But of course, here the big challenge was to only really import the data we really needed.
Yeah.
Because of course, from BASF side, it's basically a legacy system, highly customized.
Yeah.
Lots of data.
A lot of processes, which probably, or some of them may not be relevant also in the new context.
Absolutely.
And the setup.
So we needed to identify what we actually need and want.
Yeah.
So what is mandatory?
Yeah.
And what do we want to skip?
Yeah. And then the most important thing is what I remember these experiences that we both had gone through 3 years ago. Most importantly, it has to be seamless. The separation has to be seamless. And as you said, the external world doesn't have to look at it or cannot have any downtime or any difference in the service levels and all of that kind of the thing. So it's definitely beyond IT, as we all talk about it. Not just the IT. IT is one core function of the whole thing, but when you look at the entire business support, other processes and all. Also, I just wanted to call out the iCatalyst. The name is very apt for the line of business that you guys have, and kudos to the guys who actually have coined that word iCatalyst. From the business importance point of view and things like that. Couple of other views from my side, Chris, is when we look at, because we have been working with multiple carve-outs across the globe. Couple of other things, I always say this tag or a code word called AAA, which is like agility, adaptability, and acceleration. These are the three important aspects when we look at any of this kind of a transformation projects. And as you rightly said, when you are, kind of disinvesting from a large enterprise into a mid-sized standalone company, agility is the most important thing. You cannot have all the big processes that are there in the back office of a large enterprise. You need to have a faster go-to-market. And also you need to adopt the processes to meet what is just needed. And I remember those conversations, and this has been not just our experiences in iCatalyst, but also in the other carve-outs, adopting to those processes, because you have the team who are coming over from the large enterprise, looking at all those systems and processes for that, and then you need to really scale down and then see what is really needed, the fully functional system, and without having that overhead of a large enterprise.
No, absolutely. I think that's one of the key points you mentioned here. We're coming out of a large multinational company with a lot of people who have been on that site for 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's all about, the mindset.
Yeah. And the change management.
Changing that. And, I think we did a pretty good job in the new teams we hired with all the functions we didn't have on site. Like I mentioned, supply chain, back office, procurement, but also in other support functions like HR and legal and IT.
Yeah.
So we got a good balance of, let's say, getting new talent on board.
Yeah.
With also experiencing experience from other companies.
Yeah.
Coming from maybe more smaller organizations, small and medium-sized enterprises, but at the same time, utilizing the knowledge we have on site with the employees who've been there for a long time, who are very experienced.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
And doing this because we're a top grade chemical producer. It's a Basel 3 classification chemical company, which is basically the highest classification here. So we really need to make sure that we are operating in a very safe environment and
in those high standards that
keeping those standards which we took over and maintaining them and actually expanding on them.
Yeah.
To be sure that we are a high quality also employer and producer of products in the Netherlands.
Right. No, absolutely. I think you're spot on in terms of some of these carve-outs, when they start building up their own independent or the smaller entities and all. what is extremely important is, in addition to the 3A that I just mentioned, the best of both worlds is important. And you need to get that knowledge that is there and the process know-how and all of that from the enterprise. But also you need to be preparing for the futuristic thing, because that's where the direction is going on. And you need to combine both the things by getting people with the right industry expertise and also the knowledge of those things and all. Any other challenges that you kind of look at it or came across, or any lessons learned specifically in the last couple of years in the iCatalyst that you could share with the larger audience?
I think you mentioned the point of agility as well. Large multinational corporations are sometimes a little bit slow in their approach to the market or to the customers.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we really picked up on.
Yeah.
To have a dedicated sales team which is just focused on our products, the products we produce, thinking about them basically every morning when they wake up and until they go to bed at night, instead of having the sales organization in a shared service center or in a broad portfolio of products which they need to sell. So we're really focused, we're dedicated, and this really helped us to be much more agile, quicker towards the customer, show a much faster reaction time to solve issues.
Yeah.
Especially in these challenging times, we had a lot of in those couple of years, we had a lot of issues with, let's say, supply chain disruptions after let's say the COVID
times.
Suddenly we came up with Suez Canal closure, Houthi terrorists in the same region, and now we have the same situation again.
The Middle East.
So the containers are not where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But we need to manage this, and we can keep our customers updated and communicate quickly. And I think that's what they appreciate. So we're much closer to our customer than we've ever been in the past.
Right. Yeah, you're spot on. I think we cannot have any podcast or any conversation without talking about the geopolitical challenges that we are all seeing since the pandemic in 2020. And iCatalyst was born in 2022, somewhere around that time. So it's a kind of a thing that has gone through the thing, and then the crisis that we are seeing across the Middle East and other parts of the world, disrupting the supply chains and all. That's where I think the agility and also adaptability comes in. How do you adapt to those dynamic situations, and then responding to those global economic situations, and then making sure that the supply chains are not majorly disrupted. Even if wherever there is disrupted, as you rightly said, communicate with your customers and then keep them into the confidence and all. I mean, this is largely for most of the companies, I guess, who are being in the other side of the aisle on that part of it. In terms of the acceleration or the speed of building something as part of the iCatalyst thing, whether it is the ERP software that you mentioned, SAP S/4HANA, or the setting up the infrastructure for the team that you have and all of that, how was your experience on that with TechWave, and how did you find the guys helping in able to setting it up?
Yeah, so this was of course incredibly challenging for us and also the TechWave team to set up the IT infrastructure, to have the SAP hosting, set up the SAP, configure the various modules we're using. So we're not using all of the modules, but we're using quite a few. And of course, we put everything into the, let's say, Microsoft 365 environment with the Azure cloud. Right. So we're fully in that environment. Right. And the objective is, of course, to give our employees and our staff seamless access to our systems
and the best experience.
While of course maintaining, let's say, IT and cybersecurity. Yeah. It's a trade-off between usability and security. Right. So we try always to find the best practice here. Right. To be secure and safe, but at the same time giving employees all opportunities to seamlessly and easily use our systems and get the information they require. Right. And communicate with our customers. Right. And with these SAP let's say implementations and IT infrastructure at the same time, I can share a great example. We started on September 1st of 2023. Right. And on, I think that was a Monday, but I'm not sure. But by the Thursday, we were able to ship our first product. So the first truck left the warehouse all the internal delivery notes had been created in SAP.
Yeah.
The invoice was created on basically on that fourth day.
Yeah.
So we were really incredibly happy and proud that from going live, taking ownership of the facility, after 4 days, we were actually able to ship, deliver, invoice.
Yeah.
And have that basically done.
Yeah, I also remember this is right after the transition TSA, ending of the transition services agreement with the BASF. And yeah, kudos to the entire team on able to seamlessly do it. And this is an example of the AAA. So we probably have scored all the 3 A's there, the agility, the adaptability, and the acceleration part of it. And I think that's most important thing in any of the transformation projects. As we look after multiple projects across InTechWave, and all our experience are also similar to that, making sure that we kind of adapt to those situations and then can handle those kind of a transformation projects, and then make sure that the end customer, who is an end customer to both of us, are your end customers, are having a seamless experiences in terms of not having any downtime, not finding any difference in terms of either the deliveries that they are expecting or the supply chains that we are talking about and all. On that note, I also was informed by our team that our partnership, iCatalyst and TechWave partnership, has been awarded a major achievement with this ISG. I think we were told to be one of the ISG standout case study for across the globe. And thank you to you and for the entire team from iCatalyst and the TechWave's team who has been able to achieve this milestone. How do you feel about it? What's your initial reaction when you heard about it?
That's of course fantastic news, and I'm very proud to be associated with this and to have been part of that team that made that happen.
Yeah.
Of course, with TechWave support. And everybody, and from a customer point of view, as I said, it needs to be seamless. But we were like a duck in the water. On the surface, we were very smooth and unnoticeable. Yeah. But underneath, paddling like hell.
Yeah, we all are working together. That is true. That's the tip of the iceberg.
That happened exactly. You can you don't see it at the top, but underneath there's a lot of paddling going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it was also, what I would like really to highlight was to say that within that transition period, we had also very fast reaction from the TechWave team when we found, something we needed to tweak in the system to make it happen, especially in the first couple of weeks, user authorizations, transaction codes, and so on and so forth, whilst of course maintaining, governance and compliance topics to make sure that we're on the right side of the law. Exactly. But coming back to this award, I think that's I think everybody can be very proud of themselves too.
Absolutely.
Because that's it's a great achievement, and I think it worked out. It worked out really well. And as I said, if after the fourth day of going live, you're basically back in business, and nobody noticed anything.
Yeah, that's definitely a big achievement, and then also kind of a major milestone in terms of particularly with coming out from a large enterprise to becoming independent, and then getting back into the business in the first couple of days after we going live and all of that.
I think there's a lot of examples where this can go really wrong.
Yeah, that's true. Great. So I think we will also celebrate with the teams, both iCatalyst and TechWave, on this standout achievement that we've been awarded by ISG. But I think more than the award, thank you for your time, Chris, for today to kind of share your experiences during this podcast about how strategic collaborations work together between two different companies, come together and then work as one single unit or one single team in a true partnership model. And also thank you for sharing your thoughts on the carve-outs and if there are any other carve-outs in the market in the near future, what they need to look at it, what is a framework or a kind of an operating model they need to look at it. I think we can definitely share. If anybody wants to know more about it, iCatalyst and TechWave can be a great example to share further experiences and then do a deep dive in terms of what are the do's and don'ts and how do you plan a separation, which is not just IT. Because one of the main things that people think of it is it's just an IT kind of a carve-out. No, it's not. It's a larger business that is being carved out with IT in the core, as a core function of part of that. And glad that you shared some of those views, and good to hear. And then some of the people who are listening to this podcast might be able to benefit these experiences. Right? Thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you very much for having me and having this opportunity to talk about iCatalyst and our Carve-Out, and of course the IT related things around this Carve-Out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.